Hey, I'm Kristin,
And I'm Ashley.
and this is Locked in a Closet.
Join us as we tell each other stories of true crime, the paranormal, urban legends, and all things spooky. Welcome back, everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
Honestly, not much is going on right now.
I know. Welcome to 2021.
Yeah, I feel like that's everyone's story.
Yeah.
It's like I'm scraping the barrel of what's going on. Like I went for a nap today.
Ooh.
Right? It's
Nothing
snowed.
beats a nap.
Yeah.
I got a new chair for my bedroom from
Ooh.
work.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a really nice one. So
See,
one of the
that's-
like big backed ones. It's good.
Ooh,
It's
so
really good
comfy.
for cross stitching. So
Oh, nice.
that's all I need in life.
Yeah, no, shamelessly plug your cross stitch store.
Oh yeah, my cute little. It's called One Cross Bitch. You can find me on Etsy.
You should do it. She's
Go buy
really
all my
talented.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the only new and exciting thing in my life, other than something that doesn't really affect us that much. But there's no more Trump in the White House.
Oh my God, no more Cheeto.
No more.
Yeah.
We got
Honestly,
a lady in there.
the news has been dry, which has been so nice.
I know.
For
I saw
once.
a TikTok of a girl that was like, "Do you know what Donald Trump did today?" Neither
Neither
did
do
I. Like, it's so nice.
Oh, and with him not being on Twitter too, it's like just a double whammy.
Yeah, it's so nice.
My favorite thing that was trending on Inauguration Day that I kept seeing everywhere was "make politics boring again." And I was like,
Yeah, it's pretty accurate, honestly.
I can stand by that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched that. I took a mental health day last Wednesday because I was having a rough go.
Oh, that's
So I
good.
just took the day off work, and it happened to be Inauguration Day. I honestly didn't know that it was. It was just it happened. So I was watching it and I was just getting so emotional. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I wonder if your work just thinks you're like a diehard like political.
No, I
nut.
work for a psychologist, so she's like pretty understanding with
Oh,
stuff
that's
like
good.
that. So
Yeah.
it was good, and it helped a lot. So that was
Yeah.
nice. Just
Those
to
are
see
so worth it. I think that we all need to have sick days and mental health days, and they need to be separate.
Yeah, for sure.
And like flex days for like appointments and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely nice knowing that it's an option.
Totally.
Yeah, and it's definitely come in handy in the last year with this stupid COVID stuff. Like, there's been a couple days where I'm just like, I can't do it today. I need a break.
Yeah. And that should be like allowed and a lot more like understood and respected and stuff. Like
100%.
I remember at some old jobs, I would take like a sick day and I'd have to be like, yeah, I'm just not feeling well. Like, and you'd have to lie because you're just saying like, I'm just not here mentally today. And they're like too fucking bad. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'm just living in like a bubble because I do work for a psychology clinic. So like it's all around me, but I feel like mental health is starting to get a little bit better. And actually, while we're recording this, tomorrow is Bell Let's Talk Day. So
oh, no way.
Topical. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's topical for sure.
Yeah. So that's tomorrow, the 28th. If you're listening to this, it's already happened. But
yeah. And what do you have to do for that? You just have to hashtag it, right?
So yeah, there's a bunch of different things on their website. It says everything. Like they will donate for every like hashtag that's used or every view of their video that they post. They'll donate for that. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. And then
I'm glad they do that. At least someone, gets mental health being
on like
discussed.
such a huge scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's a really great thing that they've done.
Yeah. Because like, in Canada, we definitely have our healthcare system, which is, it's okay.
Mediocre.
We don't pay for it technically, or we do, but whatever. But mental health is definitely something that Canada and the rest of the world, but Canada especially needs to get better with.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like me and like 8 million other people who are addicted to TikTok right now are being like subtly diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah.
It's all over my For You page. And I'm just like, oh shit, I think I do have like everything. I'm like, yeah, that's me. Or like
there's so many symptoms that like you don't really recognize. You just think that like everybody thinks like that, but no.
Yeah.
It's
and
very
now
common.
I think I'm like a neurotypical ADHD mess.
Yep.
And I looked into getting diagnosed, and as an adult, it's so much more difficult. And and there's wait lists. Yeah, and it's expensive and so time. I'm just like, fuck it, I'll stay the the hot mess that I am, because it's not worth it.
Yeah, you're functioning.
Yeah. I mean, I'm better than most, so I have that at least. But.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's wild. Like, because I've been seeing some of that stuff, and I follow Colleen Ballinger on YouTube and stuff. She's Miranda Sings also. I don't follow Miranda Sings, but I follow Colleen. And she just recently got diagnosed with ADHD, and it's been like life-changing for her, like knowing that like everything that she's been living with is not normal.
Honestly, just I'll say I'm self-diagnosed, and that's probably the worst possible thing ever. But like just knowing that, like you said, like what I'm going through it's normal, but like not normal, but like other people go through it, and it's a real thing, and it's not just me being like, am I crazy? Like, there was one I saw the other day, and for a little while there, do you remember like crushed velvet became really popular again? Mm-hmm. And I guess it still is. I like crushed velvet, like, or the velvet like dresses or shirts, like, or now there's even couches of them. Like, it makes me physically ill to touch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I never understood why. And apparently that's like a neurotypical thing, like sensory things. And I was like, oh shit. Like, so it's not just me being insane. Like there's a reason that I don't like this thing. And it's comforting, even if I don't have help for it or medication or anything.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that really got me, which again Colleen was saying, was that she heard somebody say that they can just like turn their brain off, and she had no idea that people can do that, and like you can sit there and not have anything going through your mind. Like she always has like 8,000 things, like, oh, I need to do this and this and this and this, and it's like all over the place. And that was wild to me, because I fortunately can turn my brain off. Like there's been times where I just like sit there and do nothing, and it's lovely.
But also that's called something. Oh, this is going to drive me crazy. Where it's not like spacing out. It's literally like disassociating.
Oh, yeah.
So like, when there'll be times where I will definitely like, I'll feel like my brain is turning off, but it's like I'm disassociating, and I had no idea that was like a thing and had a name and a word. And I was like, oh shit, like, that's crazy, because I definitely, especially if I'm in like a high anxious situation where I'm very uncomfortable, my whole body will just be like, it'll just like hard turn off.
You're just done. Yeah.
And someone will be like, are you okay? And I'm just like staring, and I'm like, sorry, what? Like my brain just like, that's it, panic stops. Like you need to calm down, because I get such bad anxiety in certain situations.
Mm-hmm. Especially with everything going on.
Oh my God, I know. Even going out in public now, just like it feels like a task. Like I'm starting to get like afraid of leaving the house more than ever now.
Yeah, I was getting really bad like that like last summer, I guess. It was probably like 3 or 4 months into COVID stuff, because Michael was doing every grocery shopping trip. Like he was doing everything. I wasn't working in my office. Like I was working at home, not going out at all. And I was like, okay, this is bad. Like I go out of my house and I have like my chest hurts because I'm so anxious. And that obviously is a COVID symptom. So that was making me more anxious. And I was just like, oh my God, this is bad. Yeah. So I ended up talking to my therapist, and she's like, you need to go, but like go with him, because then if you do freak out when you're in the store, you can leave, he can still get the groceries done and stuff like that. And that was like a huge help for me. So now I'm like, okay. But I was
having the same thing. Yeah, I was having the same thing. And I was like, if we go together, it's better. But then there was a point where the stores were only letting like one family in. Yeah. And I was like, well, I got to do it, because the shopping list is in my head. Yeah. I mean, it's on the paper, but it's also in my head. Like,
yeah, because you want specific things. And if you're doing most of the cooking, then you need to get what you want. And
or like if you don't remember, but you see it on the shelf, you're like, oh shit, yeah, we need that. Like,
yeah, we did that the other day. We needed ketchup and mayonnaise. Neither were on the list, but we were in the aisle, and I was like, oh shit, we need mayonnaise. And he's like, oh shit, we need ketchup.
I'm pretty sure every time I go grocery shopping, I will leave with more than what was on my list, because it's like, oh, we're running low on this, or blah blah blah. Like, or like this is an ADHD thing apparently, but I have a habit of forgetting what we have, and I think it's called object permanence. Like I said, I've really been looking into ADHD stuff, because I was like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get diagnosed, and then I saw the process, and I was like, I'll just fuck it, I'll do it later.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And so like I think I have like 6 jars of salsa in my pantry, because I'm like, oh, we need salsa.
You just always need salsa.
Always, yeah. And then eventually it'll reach a point where I'm like, no, you have salsa, and then we'll go to make something with salsa, and there's no salsa, because I haven't been buying it. Yeah. So maybe I do need to get diagnosed.
Or just take a picture of your pantry before you go shopping every time.
It's a fucking mess, right?
Yeah. All right. Should we get started?
Yeah, I don't think everyone needs to hear about my
Your
extensive
pantry.
list of mental issues. Yeah. Although it's important to talk about.
It sure is.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am covering the Falcon Lake alien encounter, I guess. I don't know.
Where's Falcon Lake?
It's in Manitoba.
Oh.
Which apparently people live in Manitoba. We had a conversation with this last week. Never met anybody.
Yeah, she texted me. She's like, "Is Manitoba real?" Like, I don't even know anyone that lived there. I was
I've literally never encountered anybody that has ever been to, except for you now.
Yeah.
Or lived in Manitoba. Like,
honestly,
once.
like, sorry, Manitoba, for anyone that lives there. I wouldn't recommend it. I lived there for a year. I was in like grade 3, but the memories I have will forever haunt me because I lived with some very redneck family, and let's just say one time I came home and there was a skinned headless deer in my bathtub.
Yeah, that's enough to put you off the whole province.
Just yeah. And there was like a lot of snow. I lived there during like the winter and then into the spring. And yeah.
Okay, so real quick, I'm just gonna see my sources. So there was an article from CBC. Actually, it was a video, from cbc.ca, blog.atlasobscura.com. There was an article that I read, Wikipedia, obviously, and falcontrailsresort.com. There was another article. Okay. Oh, and BuzzFeed Unsolved Video.
I love those guys.
It wasn't very helpful this time. It was just entertaining.
Yeah, they're just hilarious. Like I watched every single video that they put out.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Funny. On May 20th, 1967, Stephen McCulloch, he was an industrial engineer. Nope, that's a lie. I don't know why I said engineer. It says mechanic. Let me just start over.
No, keep that in.
Okay, Stephen.
You got a promotion.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Okay, Stephen McCulloch was an industrial mechanic by trade and an amateur geologist in his spare time. So on May 20th, 1967, he was prospecting for quartz and silver. I don't know.
That's cool.
Different things said different things. I don't know.
Maybe both.
Maybe both.
I couldn't tell you.
Maybe he liked multiple things.
I mean, if he's an amateur geologist, I think he just likes all rocks. So
that's true.
I don't think he's gonna be picky.
Yeah. So he was near Falcon Lake in Manitoba. Apparently he heard geese in a pond nearby, and they were starting to like freak out for no reason. So he stopped to take a look at what they were freaking out about, and he saw 2 flying objects like silently flashing in the sky. So he started looking for markings on them because initially he thought that maybe they were like NASA things that were randomly at Falcon Lake in Manitoba.
Canada?
Yeah, in Canada. He just thought that it was something coming from the States, is what he said in this one interview.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay, so people who don't know Manitoba, which is fair enough. I just looked where
everybody.
I looked where Falcon Lake is. It's literally like right near the border between Manitoba and Ontario, kind of close down to the States, like near where Minnesota is.
That NASA would have been.
Right?
Whatever. So he was looking at them. One of them came closer to him and the light started to change colors. So the thing ended up coming about 160 feet away from him. I don't know how far that is because
I guess he is an engineer, so he would know his.
So when it came closer, he realized that it was just like a silver shape and it was about 35 feet in diameter. Again, good for him for figuring that out.
I can't even picture how big that is.
Yeah. So yeah, it just like kept changing colors in front of him. I guess it was there for quite a while because he was able to sketch out the shape of the object. So
sorry, did you say what year this was?
67.
Okay, so like cameras were.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like if he had one, it wouldn't.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been great. Would have had to like develop.
Yeah.
So he spent some time sketching the shape. I'm gonna put the picture on Instagram.
Okay, so that's a pretty typical looking alien.
Yeah, like
shape.
pretty much exactly what you would expect a UFO to look like. So he tried calling out to it in English first, and got no response. And then he did Russian, got no response.
Polish went straight to Russian.
Yep. Polish got no response. And then also German, and he got no response from anything.
Damn.
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty impressive that he knows 4 different languages. That's great. He's from Poland originally.
Okay. I feel like I could say hello in at least 4 different languages, but that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah. So he walked up to it, and he was like almost within touching distance. And then a hatch opened up from the top portion of the object, we'll call it. Apparently it hissed when it opened. So I don't know, I don't know about
like
that.
Air escaping, like
not like a cat
pressure,
hissing, but and he could feel warm air coming out, and he also reported that it smelled of sulfur.
Ooh,
that's gross.
He's brave to walk up to this thing.
Oh, it gets worse. Oh, God. the next sentence I put in all caps. He apparently poked his head inside the object. What the fuck? He could see a bunch of really bright lights.
I think this is why women live longer.
Oh my God, I know. I'd be like gone.
I'd be gone.
So he put on his welding goggles, which, note to self, always carry welding goggles. Apparently,
he's panning for like silver.
Yep. And he said it was really hot, like the craft. So he touched it. He had gloves on. He touched it, and it burnt the tips of the gloves when he reached out to touch it.
Jeez.
He also noted that he couldn't see any connecting or welding spots on it. So it looked like it was one solid piece of metal instead of like a couple pieces that were like crafted together like normal things are on the earth.
Oh, I guess I'd be pretty familiar with that kind of stuff, being like an aircraft mechanic.
Yeah.
Interesting that he would find this.
Yeah. It's really strange. I don't know. I don't know. So when he was looking inside, I guess the thing started to like turn on the spot, and then it took off out of nowhere, and it knocked him on the ground. And on the outside of the craft, I don't know if you saw in the picture, but there's like a bunch of little holes in it.
Yeah.
Which I think are like kind of like exhaust.
Oh yeah, probably. Hey, like an exhaust port.
Yeah. So where those were ended up singeing his clothes because it was so hot when it was taking off, and it left burn marks on his stomach.
That's
which
creepy.
There's also pictures of. Yeah,
interesting.
So that's kind of weird. So after this happened, he made his way to the Falcon Motor Hotel, where he found the owner and told her he needed to see a doctor. His eyes were reported to be really bloodshot, and he was, quote, out of sorts. So I don't know. There was one thing that I read that it was like a skeptic was saying that he was probably an alcoholic, so that's why he was like out of sorts and stuff. And I'm like, well,
if he lived in Winnipeg. No, I'm just kidding. But like my family was all alcoholics, so
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that could kind of, I don't know.
I feel like because in my story too, they try and blame alcohol for it too. Yeah. So I feel like that it's just trying to discredit.
Yeah.
People's experiences, I guess, but
yeah, super strange. So a little bit of time passed, and then he started feeling really sick. So he had headaches, nausea, weight loss, blackouts, basically a bunch of symptoms that were pointing to radiation burn.
Oh.
And then after a few weeks, he lost like a significant amount of weight, and they were thinking that it was like cancer or radiation burn still. So he went to the hospital, and there was no radiation at all. So it wasn't actually that.
Crazy.
On June 30th, so a month and 10 days after it happened, he went looking for the site with a friend because he was like kind of like disoriented when he was leaving. And they found a 15-foot patch of burned grass where it was. So they like alerted authorities, all that stuff. Soil samples were taken from the area, and they proved to be radioactive.
Whoa.
And the health department considered quarantining the area, but they later discovered radium in the area. I don't really know what that is, but anyway.
I think it's like it's probably on like the periodic table of elements. I'll just gander, I guess.
Yeah. So 9 months after the incident happened, he collapsed at work. And then he looked, and there were a series of dots on his chest, like in the picture that I showed you.
Again?
And they ended up coming back about every 3 months
so
for
weird.
a year and a half after it happened. And that's so weird.
Oh my God, that's so creepy.
Yeah. So he obviously talked to his doctor about it. His doctor ended up sending him to the Mayo Clinic. So he went there and he was examined, and then he went back to Winnipeg. No reports were ever sent back to his doctor from the Mayo Clinic. and they like kept calling, kept bugging them, kept trying to figure out like what happened to them. And
Really?
they finally got back to them after like a year and a half, and they said that they had no records of him ever being there, but he was paying off the bill for going to that hospital.
Oh, I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, well, if there's no records, I'm not paying this.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there. That was a little bit.
That's the government, like,
yeah,
erasing all evidence.
Yeah, it's super strange, that part.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's been investigated by RCMP and a bunch of other officials. No one could ever actually identify what happened there. About a year after the encounter, Stephen went back to the site with a friend of his, and they found quite a bit of material in the soil. And it ended up being a really pure form of silver that was covered in ore, and it contained uranium and radium.
I see the picture that there's posted, and in true Canadian fashion, there's a toonie for size.
It's so good.
And it looks like not a man-made object, but it doesn't look natural forming.
Yeah, it's like brackets. I guess
it
looks like
a bracket.
Like 3 of the same shape they found.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's a little weird.
If I was him, I'd be going back there all the time because I'd just be like wanting answers.
Yeah. So October 28th, 1999, he passed away at the age of 83. So that's really sad that he never actually got the answer to like what actually happened.
I mean, we still don't. So
yeah. So just a couple places, or like a couple like fun facts, I guess. In April 2018, the Royal Canadian Mint released a $20 silver coin depicting the alleged event.
I love that.
And it's part of Canada's Unexplained Phenomena series. It's cute.
Yeah.
There was an Unsolved Mysteries episode of it, and like he was actually on that episode. That's where I got the.
I've probably seen that because I've watched every episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Year.
So he was actually on it, so that was kind of cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then BuzzFeed Unsolved episode that I saw.
That's
so kind of cool.
That's a cool little like chunk of Canadian like history in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of neat. I think I'd heard about it, but like I never read into it at all. So like I had no idea really what was going on.
I probably saw the BuzzFeed Unsolved episode, or not BuzzFeed, the Unsolved Mysteries episode. Yeah. But I watched those like a couple years ago, and it was like while I was working from home. So it was like I was working at the same time. So I probably
so it was just kind of on in the background. Yeah.
That's really crazy though. Like I love how it happened in Manitoba of all places.
I know, that's so funny that I was looking that up because literally last week I texted you. It might have been earlier this week. I don't even know.
Yeah. All the days
Manitoba's not real. I'm convinced.
I haven't been back to Manitoba since I lived there, so that could have
maybe it's not real now.
Yeah, it's not a fever. It's a fever dream. But I believe it because like I have family members that have sweared by seeing things. Like my grandpa is a commercial fisherman, and they'd be off the coast of like Vancouver Island, like way out, like parts of Vancouver Island that aren't inhabited really, and they would see like lights descend down onto like the into the distance onto Vancouver Island and then shoot up later.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
or just like drop straight into the sea. I swear, War of the Worlds has it right. The aliens are in the water.
Well, you know what? Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just
I'm also not convinced that octopuses are like an animal. I'm pretty sure they're aliens.
I love octopus. They're my favorite. I have a tattoo of an octopus on my leg.
They terrify me. They're aliens.
They're so smart. Like it's insane.
That's what I mean. They're too smart.
They're so smart.
And I don't trust horses. I don't fucking trust horses.
I think that's just a you thing.
Yeah, probably. There's just no way an animal that big we can just domesticate and like they're like, yeah, sure, ride me, I guess. Like, I don't know. I don't trust horses.
When we recorded our first episode together, it was like way back when like I was still doing the podcast pretty much. I was just having different guests on. I talked about how when I was a kid, I used to think that if I accidentally turned my lights on and then had to turn them off and like had to do it a couple times, I thought aliens, that was like their sign that they could come in. When my husband was listening to that episode, he texted me. He's like, babe, I used to think the same thing. And
That's crazy.
Like, what? Are you kidding me?
What are the chances?
Yeah, apparently the only two people in the whole world that ever that we somehow found each other.
Maybe there's more. Maybe there's more. Let us know if you also thought that flashing your lights at night would call the aliens. I love that story.
Marry you, but we can be friends.
I love that because I feel like every kid has something like that. Like for me, it was like if my blinds were closed, that's it. That was like a force field that protected me from aliens, which makes no sense.
I don't even know why I knew about aliens when I was a kid. Like,
right? Where does that come? I mean,
I think you asked me the other day. You're like, what was like the first like story that you heard that made you think of aliens? And I was like, I don't know idea. Either. I've just always been scared.
Yeah. I honestly like there's not like, at least with true crime, I feel like I know like that one defining story that made me interested. But like with aliens, I could not tell you. I bet you though, because like my grandma, I used to go and like stay with her for a week in the summer, and she would always watch Unsolved Mysteries or like I don't know all the other names of them, but like ghost story shows and stuff like this. So I'm sure like that's where I saw stuff like this and got scared or got interested. But I don't really think there was like one alien, unless it was just like my family talking about aliens and me being like,
Yeah, no, I have no idea. Definitely like for me, like I know why I like paranormal stuff. I know why I like true crime stuff, but aliens, I have no freaking clue.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah. I guess like if you think about it, there's aliens in like a lot of TV shows and media. Like I know growing up, there was this show on TV. I'm trying to remember. It was like My Brother Was an Alien. It was like something on like YTV or something, right? Or something like, I can't remember if that's the name of it, but
something like that though.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And lots of cartoons about aliens and stuff. So it's kind of like we're like breeding kids to like believe or think about it.
It's called My weird. Brother the Alien.
Yes, I remember watching that. It was probably like one of those shows that it would be on like late, like Cartoon Network or YTV.
Oh, maybe it was Alf. Maybe that's why I like it. I used to watch Alf all the time when I was a kid.
I remember.
That's probably what it was. Honestly, it was probably Alf. My brothers and I used to walk home from school for lunch and we'd watch Alf. That sounds like we grew up in the 60s. But we grew up in the 90s.
There's just a lot of reruns on TV.
Yeah.
I had an Alf doll.
Land. Did you really?
Yeah. I think it was my mom's and then I had it.
I have an Alf puzzle that I found at a vintage store.
It doesn't even seem like it was a real thing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Alf, the alien that eats cats.
And then also Mork and Mindy with
Robin
Williams.
In peace. Yeah.
I remember like that's an old show, but I remember like my parents or something watching it.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was.
Or making references. Or Third Rock from the fucking Sun.
Oh.
Did you ever watch that?
I watched it a little bit. I was a little bit too young for it though. Like my parents never wanted me to watch it.
I watched that definitely with like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I had such a crush on him then. Still do probably.
It's great. I like him a lot. Alrighty, you want to tell me your story?
All right. So mine is the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter. Hopkinsville. It's a mouthful. I don't want to say it wrong. Or the story of the Little Green Men, which you'll realize makes no fucking sense.
Okay, great. Can't wait.
All right. So now whenever I think of aliens, this is the story that pops into my head is like the story about aliens. And I know I listened to a podcast that covered this story recently, but as in recently, I mean, it could have been like the last 3 years. And I only really listen to like 2 podcasts, I swear to God, these days. So I thought it might have been the ladies at My Favorite Murder covered it, but I don't think they would have covered aliens, and I couldn't find any evidence of that on like their lists. So I'm thinking it was probably Lore that covered it at one point, because I like Lore a lot. I listen to that podcast. It's really great. But I couldn't find what podcast I heard the story on, which sucked because I could have got more information from them.
Yeah.
Quickly, I'll say my sources actually, speaking of which. A YouTube video called Little Green Men by the Kentucky Educational Television.
I bet that was entertaining.
Yeah, it was an old one too. A YouTube video called UFO Case Review, Kelly Hopkinsville Encounter, 1955. A History.com article called The Little Green Men Origins, and good old Wikipedia.
Love it.
Yeah. So I think I got most of my information from the History.com article. It's very thorough. August 21st, 1955 was just like any other typical hot summer night in Kentucky. The Sutton family owned a tiny farm in a rural area of Kentucky called Kelly. It was like a modest, small 3-bedroom house that didn't sport any of the luxuries of running water, power, telephones, or radio. So just like I think it was like a wood kind of cabin in the woods kind of thing. So 8 adults and 3 children were at the farm at this time. And I think it was kind of like a reunion. I couldn't find out. I'm thinking like a couple families lived in this place and then 2 people plus their kids were visiting. So there was like 11 people there total in this like tiny little 3-bedroom house. So the house itself consisted of the 50-year-old widow and the matriarch of the family, Glennie Lankford, and her 2 older sons with their wives, a brother-in-law, and the widow's 3 younger children.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. I don't know how that family tree works, but there's a lot of people there. And then, of course, the 2 visiting people, Billy Ray and his wife, who were visiting from out of town. So they were visiting Elmer.
Trish. Iris.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. This is the origin story of Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
So they were visiting Elmer. Lucky is his nickname, Elmer Sutton. So I'll just refer to him as Lucky from here on out.
Okay.
And they had worked together previously in like a traveling carnival. So they were just down from Pennsylvania visiting. So around 7 p.m., Billy Ray Taylor was out getting some water from the well. He claimed he saw a silver disc-shaped object that was real bright with an exhaust of all colors of the rainbow, is how we described it.
It was real bright.
Real bright. He said it silently passed over the house, stopped midair, and then dropped straight into the ground or to the ground. So the family, he went back, told everyone, they sort of dismissed his claims and basically like laughed him off. And like, I honestly, this is where I made that reference before. I think they were all deep in the hooch at this point. Like, it was Kentucky, like rural Kentucky.
Mm. What else are you going to do?
Right. But later on in the story, Glennie Lankford, the like house matriarch, she stated Lickard was never allowed at the farmhouse. So who knows? Sounds like they were all pretty like good Christian men or whatever. So about an hour later, the family dog started barking like crazy. And so Billy Ray and Lucky Sutton went to the door to see what all the ruckus was about. They saw a strange glow coming from what appeared to be a small humanoid creature. They described this creature to be about 3.5 feet tall with an oversized, almost perfectly round head with large bat-like ears.
Ooh.
Yeah. And its arms extended almost to the ground, like
Ew, I
proportionally.
hate that.
I know, like
It's like Slender
and
Man.
with
Bat ears.
but like 3 feet tall, so
Yeah.
super short. And then its hands were like almost like talons, like these big club hands with talons. And then it had big oversized eyes that gave off a yellowish glow. And the body kind of shimmered in the moonlight, almost like a silver metal.
This is actually the story of Twilight.
Twilight and Miley Cyrus.
And Miley Cyrus.
It's my new fan fiction. So this is where I was like, I don't know where the green part of the story came from, because never at all does anyone in the family ever describe them being green. They actually say like quite frequently that it was silver, and it almost looked like they were wearing armor.
Weird.
Which, like, freaky. So also apparently it didn't walk like humans, but rather floated and moved forward by swaying its hips from side to side.
Oh.
So it was like, apparently its legs were pretty like rigid, like it didn't have like knees or whatever, and it just kind of like floated and it kind of like wiggled, I guess, as it moved forward.
That's so weird.
It's so creepy.
Imagine that coming towards you.
I would simply pass away.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So the 2 men were obviously terrified, and one of them grabbed a shotgun and one of them grabbed a rifle, and they fired towards the creature. So I love this, like, don't even ask, just shoot. And so apparently the creature raised its hands up into the air, like its long ass arms and hands, like almost like you would do if someone had you at like gunpoint, like don't shoot kind of thing. And it just kept like slowly approaching them. And so they were like shooting at it. And so this is the creepiest part of this whole fucking thing. It did this like flip. I'm assuming like a backflip. And then it fled into the darkness. It was just
Ew.
like
I hate that so much.
Yeah. Like nothing about this story is like, it's just terrifying. So then of course the family's like scared as hell. And like minutes later, they see these same creatures appear in the window. So like they retreated back into the house and then they just fucking right now
there's a window right beside me.
Fucking facing a window. I'm like, oh God, I gotta close this. I'm facing a window and it's pitch black. So
close your blinds. Close your blinds.
There's too much shit in the way. I'll just risk it.
Whoa.
So they're in this house. They all retreat back to the house, and then these creatures just like pop up in the windows.
Oh my God.
And so they just fire straight through the window. So I don't know if like the windows had glass on them. I'm assuming no. I think it was just like a screen.
Okay.
I don't know how cold it gets in Kentucky, but I know it gets probably hot. So I'm sure in the summer that helps regulate.
Yeah, but bugs.
Yeah, but it's a screen, so bugs can't get through the screen.
They kind of
So
there's like shot through it.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that's not their priority. So they fire the gun through the screens at them, and then again they just seem to not be affected by the bullets, and they just do that weird little flip thing and disappear.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a quote straight from the history.com article. Miss Lankford told Isabel Davis, the author of an extensive report called Close Encounter at Kelly and Others of 1955. It looked like a 5-gallon gasoline can with a head on top and small legs. It was shimmering bright metal like on my refrigerator. That's how she described it. So like aliens, robots, yeah, like a gasoline can, which like back then were made of metal. So that's how she described it.
Okay.
So I feel like I need to say this next part like at night beside a campfire with like a flashlight under my chin, just get lean in real close. So things seemed to quiet down a bit. So the two men ventured outside to investigate. As they were standing on the porch, the rest of the family inside saw one of the claw-like hands reach down from the roof and touch Billy Ray's hair. So that's not the most terrifying.
His poor mullet.
Yeah. So they all screamed and pulled him back in because they were all like kind of huddled by the door together, all 11 of them. Oh. And they saw it. I think he felt it. They screamed and they pulled him back in, and then Lucky shot at the roof at the creature and then another creature in a nearby tree. It then apparently floated to the ground and fled to the woods. They later told police that they thought the creatures were protected by some sort of armor. Hence the like glowing. I'm still facing a window and I'm not looking up.
No, I hate it.
Yeah. So enough was enough at this point, and they barricaded themselves inside for several hours, just absolutely terrified. They shot out of the windows whenever the creatures popped up and got too close, because apparently they just kept like peering in the window. And then they would hear movements outside and like scratches on the roof. So they could hear that they were like on the roof. Eventually at 11 p.m., so I think it's been about like 3 hours at this point of just like hell. I'm assuming the activity like quieted down enough that the entire family, all 11 of them, just fucking packed up and like booked it to their cars. So they fled the house together, and then they packed into their vehicles and sped away. And they went to the Hopkinsville police station. So they rushed the station with their wild story. And so the police chief called his entire team, the state police and the military police from Fort Campbell, which was apparently nearby, and a ton of reporters. All of these people got to the property and investigated it, and they found the bullets and the shell casings and like the holes in the screen. Like they definitely saw that there was like carnage, but they didn't find anything else. They also said that they couldn't find any evidence of any drinking either. So like no jugs of XXX moonshine laying around. So after a few hours, everyone just like packed it up and left the family alone in the farmhouse again. And it was by around 2 a.m. So, however, their experience didn't end there. Later in the night at around 3:30, the family was plagued again by these glowing creatures.
Oh my God.
Miss Lankford claimed that one stood by her bedside window with its claw hand on the screen. Jill's like, oh my God. She just laid there staring at it, and it just like held its hand.
Oh my God.
I don't even think they tried shooting at it anymore. They were just like,
just over it.
Yeah. And then so apparently the creatures finally seemed to leave them alone by daybreak. But then, of course, a different invasion was about to occur.
Oh my God, this is long.
Yeah. So come
These
daybreak,
poor people.
I know. Like, honestly, like what they went through and like how they reacted doesn't seem to match with like them wanting to lie about it. Because yeah, come daybreak, the whole town and all the surrounding towns had caught wind of what happened, and the people just flooded the farm, hoping to catch a glimpse of these little green men. I don't know where that name came from. Like people literally camped on the farm and would like enter the house and steal shit just as souvenirs. They just like would walk through the cabin and just take things. So they put up no trespassing signs, but those did obviously nothing. So they decided to start charging people for various things, like 50 cents for entering the grounds, $1 for information, and $10 for taking pictures. So
in
then,
the
of course,
50s?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? Like, so that of course led like skeptics being like, you're just doing this for the money. Like you're making this up and you're just charging for money. The children of Miss Langford, the grandchildren, there was one of the videos I watched had a grandchild of her, claimed that she was a God-fearing woman who would have not made any of these kind of stories up. And it was also said that every time the sheriff interviewed her, her story remained the same. And as they got more into the story, she would just get this look of complete fear in her eyes as she recounted the night. And so they sold the house like days later. They just packed up and left. They didn't want anything to do with the house. They didn't like the attention. They were like tired of people wanting interviews, so they just left. You know, that's why it makes me feel like they didn't do this for an attention or money or anything, unless they made enough money charging people.
Yeah, and then they were like, okay, see ya.
We're out. Yeah. So yeah, that's the story. And I'm going to get into one of my favorite explanations.
Okay, I'm ready.
Because honestly, how do you explain an encounter like this when 11 people from all different ages experience the same thing? But the best explanation for this is that the aliens were great horned owls.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll trust me, it makes sense when I get into this now. Like, so people just love to think that the entire family was intoxicated on like some good moonshine, and then they got scared by a couple of giant owls. And honestly, if you look up great horned owls, they're actually kind of creepy looking. So you know, they're nocturnal. They fly at night. They fly silently. They have big yellow eyes, and then they have those tufts of fur that they could have thought were like those bat ears, like the tufts of fur by their eyes, and they can get up. Well, they say they can get up to 2 feet tall. So, you know, this is back to when we were talking about I can't tell distances or heights. So maybe they just, And they have talons. And most importantly, they will aggressively defend their nests. It also might be worth noting that in their claims, they never actually saw more than 2 of these aliens at once, the creatures. So honestly, it could have just been a pair of 2 great horned owls defending like their babies. There was also sightings and reports of a meteor shower that occurred that same night, which could explain the light in the sky that Billy Ray saw before the attack. But yeah, that's the story. So like this could explain like when he shot at the ones in the tree and they say it glided down. It could have just been the owl gliding with its wings. I mean, at night, it's not like they had like a street lamp.
Yeah, that's true. They would have been like in the middle of.
So I'm not saying that it was owls, but part of me feels like it was owls.
Yeah, that's so weird. But you'd think that they would I mean, maybe not, but they may have been familiar with owls if they lived in the country.
You would think, but who knows? I mean, and like the fact that they'd be on the roof and like anytime they went outside, they would attack because, you know, maybe when Billy Ray went to go get water, maybe the nest was right by the well and he just triggered them.
Yeah.
The thing is like when all of the people were there, where did the owls go? People were like camped out there for days, unless they were just like, oh, there's some owls here, and like didn't think they were aliens.
Didn't. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm also curious about like how they said that they were shiny, and
yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I just think I think the owl theory is funny because then it makes me think of the staircase. So do you think it's aliens? Do you think it's owls?
I don't think it's owls. I think that's a little ridiculous.
I want to know who came up with that theory.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because I would have never thought of that.
No. I don't think most people would think of owls. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so like that, the whole term "little green men" was coined from that encounter.
From those little silver owls.
Yeah, it was like some newspaper just decided to like completely lie, I guess. Like have a
Maybe
little
just
spin.
made it sound like more extraterrestrial because nothing's green.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, but yeah, that's probably my favorite alien story of all time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's just like 11 people were fucking terrorized for hours.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere,
sad.
Kentucky.
Yeah. Those poor people.
Those are our little green men stories.
Hopefully we never see them for ourselves.
No, I do not want.
Yeah, I don't know what. I would probably just pee my pants and then.
Well, and like most of the alien stories that I've ever read are always like people with like lost time. And then they don't have any idea what's happened to them. Like they'll be driving along, they'll see a light in the sky, and then the next thing they know, it's been like 7 hours later. Like what?
Yeah, that's so strange.
How do you lose just 7 hours of your fucking life and not know?
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, it freaks me out. I don't like that.
I love talking about them and I love hearing stories, but
yeah, don't want to ever.
I don't want them to be my stories.
Yeah. Ooh. No, thank you. No, thank you.
No.
Not into that.
No.
Well, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
I guess that's our alien stories.
Our little green men stories.
Yeah.
What's on the docket for next week? What are we talking
next week? We're doing...
next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I keep saying next week, but
yeah, next episode.
Yeah,
we are doing true crime.
Ooh, I love true crime.
We'll have our own little true crime story.
I have been binging true crime shows lately.
Oh yeah.
I go through phases where like it'll be like a week of just watching true crime documentaries. And then I get too overwhelmed and then I just watch happy things.
Yeah, and then you like can't walk down the street without thinking somebody's stalking you and it's gonna kill you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. All right,
we should mention that if people want to and like our show, that they should subscribe to our feed, I guess. I don't know
and like rate and review wherever you can, I guess.
Yeah, that's what people say.
Especially on like iTunes. Yeah. Rate, review, subscribe.
Yeah. I think it apparently helps.
Yeah.
I don't really know how this works. I just like doing it. So.
Yeah. We just like talking, and especially about spooky, true crime, etc.
Yeah.
So if you also like spooky, true crime, etc., please let us know. Or if you have like specific stories you want us to cover, we definitely
like
use
if you
the
have
idea.
A story like
yes,
how we used to do this podcast, just have people telling their own stories.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Yeah,
or just like write in. We'll say it.
Yeah, we can read sometimes.
Yeah, we edit. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, big time.
There's lots of podcasts that you don't hear.
Oh my god! Thank God nobody hears that. Except for the only one that really has got me that I did leave in was, oh my God, I can't even say it now. Asphyxiation. That one got me real good. I was like peeing my pants when I was editing it.
Oh my God.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's fun to edit this sometimes because you can tell when we're just struggling to say a word. Oh yeah. Then we'll cut out a lot of it usually.
Usually you can hear because when we do finally get it out, we're like laughing a little bit. It's just like it comes from nowhere because I edit all of the embarrassing part out, and then yeah. Anyway, so that's that.
Yeah. So stay tuned for true crime next episode, and until next time.
Yeah, I forgot what I say. I was gonna say stay spooky, but I changed it now. Until next time. Bye. Oh God.
We're keeping that in.
Keep on creeping on.